And in baseball, that somewhere is the minors. The breakout stars.
Early on in day 3 of the draft, the Pirates called.
The wild moments and the prospects you need to know about.
A sub-3 ERA in both single and double A.
This is Minor League Weekly, your inside look at the future of the game. And away we go for episode number 20 of Minor League Weekly on the Minor League Minute YouTube channel. You can also, if you're not catching us in a live capacity, check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We've been looking at those numbers. They have been growing, and we appreciate you a ton. If you feel inclined to leave a 5-star review, feedback on anything you want to see or have enjoyed seeing, we appreciate that a ton. It is episode 20 on April 20th. I'm Cory Sparks here in Reading, Pennsylvania. I'm joined by Sam Strash in Wisconsin, and we have a special guest today. Illinois, you're below the state line. Oh my goodness.
South Beloit, yep. We do have a special guest. There he is. Here's our little guy. His name's Hoagie. I got him a few months ago, so that's why I've been a little absent on the channel as of late. You know, there's 2 jobs, and then there's basically a toddler. So, you know, at some point, you gotta just think about, I got to take care of this thing. I have to keep it alive.
Yes.
Right? So, but he's been great. You know, he really likes chewing on fingers and toes, and he'll chase me around the house. And he is just finally really getting potty trained. So, as long as he stays up on this bed, we're in the clear. He won't wander off to go do his business. But, you know, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. He wants to say hi. He wants to do what Dad's doing. He always likes to sleep by my feet. It's so fun coming home from work, and I'll walk into the bedroom, and he's sitting there at the edge of the crate. His ears go back. He hides his ears, and he, like, whines a little bit. I open his crate, and he'll just fall right on his side out the crate. It's so funny. So he's going to be on the camera here and there tonight. You'll see him quite a bit.
I love that. He's like, Dad's back. We're so back. I'm about to fall on him. He's my cuddle buddy for the next 12, 14 hours here. Yeah, that's awesome stuff.
Of course.
Yeah, no, Sam's been working really hard, too, on some other pieces for us that are taking a ton of time. So you'll see him from time to time, but between basically being a dad and juggling like 5 other things, no need for the apologies on the hiatus, my friend. You've got a lot going on. Yeah.
The shelves at Target aren't going to stock themselves.
No.
Guys, right? So someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it.
Good stuff. And part of the reason for my like Freudian slip on where you were is because you're also teaching, so you're in Whitewater once in a while, more than once in a while. So you're all over the place. But
yep. And new camera angle. There's new stuff behind me. There's a dog behind me. So I mean, there's a whole lot of new things going on. I just put out some soundproofing up here. I'm going to keep talking and make sure he doesn't jump off the bed.
There we go. You're all good. Well, welcome to the podcast, Hoagie. Hopefully the first of many appearances.
Here he is.
Oh, that's amazing.
Here he is.
He's so fluffy.
Yep. So I just put up a whole bunch of soundproofing. My girlfriend did a lot of the heavy work for me on that because she's a lot more inclined with what's optically pleasing than I am. I just kind of put things where I knew they would, you know, diffuse the sound best.
Yeah.
She put them all over the room. There's a whole lot of stuff in the corners. This wall in front of me, normally the walls in this room are yellow. This entire wall in front of me is just black foam soundboard. So whole new studio setup. It's looking great in here. And we got the dog. So,
The dog.
A lot of new things.
A great touch. Giving you all a quick preview of what we'll be covering in today's episode as we almost round out the month of April with Sam and Hoagie. That is amazing. I cannot wait to have the dog on more episodes. Segment 1 is a little look at the Akron Rubberducks. They threw one of the first no-hitters of the season. There have been a couple early on in the first couple of weeks of the minor league year, but they threw a pretty notable one. We'll dive into that and a bigger conversation about them. Risers, as per usual, stock up. Fallers, as per usual, stock down. There was a walk-off balk in NCAA in mid-major play, and we've looked at the footage. Sam is a former baseball player. I don't really count myself as that. I quit at like 15. So we're going to have Sam break that down and maybe make some content after this. I'll cut something up on whether or not it actually was a balk. It was a 21-inning game, too. So excited to really dive into that. And then, as usual, we wrap up our episode with fair or foul. Another automatic ball strike system conversation. slightly different as it relates to the minor leagues. And Sam, I guess we'll jump right in here with the Akron Rubberducks. They're the AA affiliate of the now Cleveland Guardians. They throw a combined no-no to end last week's 6-game slate. So on Sunday, the Akron Rubberducks no-hit the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. So the Rumble Ponies, not doing too well the last couple of games. They had been shut out 3 times in that series. The big league Mets having some trouble too. But Akron, they get that win. They get that no-no. They have numerous top 30 prospects, a no-hitter under their belt, a promising record at 10-5. Sam, I'll pitch it to you first. Does this team have a case as the best team in minor league baseball, regardless of level?
I would believe so. And I think you outlined it perfectly. I'm going to let you take the charge on a lot of the names to keep in mind in terms of who's on that Rubberducks roster, which awesome name, by the way. I mean, the Rubberducks, man. That just really strikes fear into your opponents. We're facing the Rubberducks this weekend. But I think they definitely have a case for it. There's just talent all across the board. But I do want to bring up, let me just be a homer here really quick. There's me a couple homer moments in this episode tonight. But the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, man, they have one of the youngest rosters in high A baseball. And they're just through and throughout, they're one of the best teams in minor league baseball too. I think they have at least a say in who's got, who's taking home the name of best minor league baseball team. Just really quick here, run through some of the guys on this roster. Luis Pena, first and foremost, through 10 games at AA, he's got an OPS of over 1,000, right? He's batting 400 on the nose as well. He's got 4 stolen bases, a bunch of extra base hits in there. Andrew Fisher, this is a guy that in the World Baseball Classic, a lot of people were talking about Andrew Fisher as being a budding superstar, possibly, in baseball. And granted, he's had a little bit of a bumpy start per a lot of people's standards. I think he's had a good start to the year. Has 11 RBIs thus far, But I mean, 260 batting average, nothing to swallow at, nothing to scoff at. That's pretty good, right? Andrew Fisher, he's got a lot of time left as well. I mean, you got to take all of these stats with a grain of salt, right? And really just all of these starts with a grain of salt too. None of this is going to stick the entire season. And if it does, why are these guys not on big league rosters yet? So all of these things got to take them with a grain of salt, but there are some trends we got to look toward, like Luis Pena with his OPS right now. Braylon Payne and Josiah Ragsdale are leading the way in steals on that team. Ragsdale's got 8 by himself through the first 10 games of the year. Marco Dinges, 5 homers, 9 RBIs, and 955 OPS. A guy like Eric Batanti, first baseman for the T-Rats, who, like we said, take these stats with a grain of salt. He's struggling to start the year, but last year he had a 19 homer season at Class A Carolina/Wilson. Bryce McCage, 2.61 ERA through 3 starts to this year. And don't forget this name. Josh Adamshevsky currently leads the team with 5 homers and a 13.02 OPS. This is a guy that was not on anyone's radar going into last year. Had himself a solid spring at minor league spring training camp, and then just tore it up through the rest of the season, and now he's hitting 300 plus with 5 homers and an OPS above 1,300.
Yeah, that team, look, I'm not much of a betting man. Occasionally I'll do props and stuff because that's legal in Wisconsin, at least for now. Might be getting more soon, which is good. But I would feel very safe if I just put all of my betting money on every minor league affiliate for the Brewers finishing the season with a winning record. Because more times than not, that's happened, and it's not exactly close. You see names like Madej and Pratt and others, Luis Lara being another one. He's doing really well in Nashville right now. You see them,
like Luis Lara a lot.
You see them leave high A, and you go, oh boy, here comes the fall off. That does not apply to the Milwaukee Brewers organization and or their farm system. They are constantly working on this feeder system. And Andrew Fisher, the latest example, but you named off a ton of great crop talents there, Sam, that are coming in, and I think they do have a case. I guess circling back to the Akron Rubberducks, not the most intimidating mascot, but they have been remarkable, as you said, Sam, right? They're very well-rounded. You will have other teams like the Timber Rattlers or the Memphis Redbirds, who are 14-7. They had a cameo on last week's episode. Harrisburg Senators, Richmond Flying Squirrels, a couple of really strong AA team. West Michigan Whitecaps, I think they were the best AAA team regardless of level last year. They're running it back. But I just want to take a quick look at Akron and let people know that I'm not making this case only because they threw a no-hitter. It does help. Just looking at their roster, Matt Tugboat Wilkinson, remember him on this channel from his Lake County Captains days. He's amazing, and he is absolutely performing like somebody at his age should be in Double-A right now. The intimidating southpaw, he started this no-no with 5 shutout innings and 6 strikeouts. Now across 237 innings as a pro baseball player, he's got a sub-3 ERA, so it's no longer a good stint, a good stretch, a good month, a good season, a good year. This is a quality baseball player, and he's not even in the team's top 10. Okay, they also have Angel Hanao, number 3 for the Guardians, and a top 100 prospect. He's on this crew, hitting over 300, and he has that golden skill set. He is a switch hitting shortstop. Speaking of the Brewers, like guys like Madej also fit that mold. If you are a switch hitting shortstop and you're well-rounded, guys like Angel Hanao are going to have a future in this league. Keep going down the line. Ralphie Velasquez, we can't leave him out. He's number 4 in the Guardians system, and he's also a top 100 guy, and he's also on this team. He has a couple of long balls to start the year. He's cooled off a little bit since a nice opening series. Number 6 in the Guardians pipeline, also on this team, Cal Stephan. 60 grade control. He's 1-1.
Dude.
Unbelievable, right? 0.71 earned run average over 12 2/3 innings pitched. So, I mean, let's just paint the picture here, right? You have the Dominican Summer Leagues, you have the Arizona Complex League, then you have low A, high A, double A, and triple A. 5-6 levels before you even get to the majors. So on average, maybe you have like 4 or 5 different guys in your top 30. 3 of the top 6 Guardians prospects play in Akron right now. And Travis Bazzana just left. He was there too. So when you look at star power, when you look at wicked talent, and then you look at their win-loss tab of 10-5 going into the off day here ahead of another 6-game stretch, and then they threw a no-no, and then they have Tugboat Wilkinson, who somehow is still not on a lot of people's radars. I don't know, man. I think these two, the Timber Rattlers and the Akron Rubberducks, they are right up there with the best of them right now.
They're definitely right up there. And Cal Stephan was a guy that I had my eyes on since the trade deadline last year when he was moved for Shane Bieber. Remember, this was a guy who's really high up in Toronto's minor league system. Gets moved over after a rough, 1, maybe 2 starts at Double-A for the Blue Jays. I have the number right here. 1 start, gave up 4 earned runs, 5 total runs in 4 innings pitched, 2 homers. And then last year at Akron, didn't really do much better. But this year he's turned things around. The velo's up. Movement looks great. Great solid pitch mix. So there's a whole kitchen sink at you. I mean, Cal Stephan, the physicality is there as well, too. He's a bigger dude, 6'4", 215, little length in that arm. So Cal Stephan is a guy that if you are a baseball casual or someone who's trying to get more into just minor league baseball, period, Cal Stephan's a name that should be on your radar for at least the near future. At least the near future.
Yeah. I 100% agree, and I think you have those blue chip farm systems that we always talk about, and rightfully so. If the Guardians aren't on the fringe of that, they're in there, especially when you look at the depth of their upper-level minor league teams. The Columbus Clippers, we could easily be talking about them as one of the best teams in minor league baseball as well. They don't have quite the win-loss record of the Double-A affiliate, but top to bottom, this team, the captains, have had some really remarkable games as of late. The Guardians, top to bottom, are just chock full of talent, and a lot of them are marinating in Double-A right now. Now, you mentioned guys like Cal Stephan or Tugboat Wilkinson. If he continues to perform the way he does, this is the nature of minor league baseball. They will be gone. But right now, on April 20th of 2026, I'm putting this team skill set up there with just about anybody. But I would say the Timber Rattlers, year in, year out, are up there with just about anybody as well. We can go on down to risers. I actually have a personal question here, Sam. Did you remember Ben Ross? He was in the Northwoods League, but you might have missed him by a year. I don't know.
I think he was probably a year before. Who did he play for?
He was on the Wisconsin Rapids Raptors in 2022. So that answers my question. So he would have missed you by a year.
Okay, yeah. So a year before. Yep, year before.
So he caught my eye. I will never forget the story. Sam and I worked for the Kenosha Kingfish for a little bit in the Northwoods League, Summer Wood Bat, 72 games. They're starting their season in about a month and some change. Ben Ross was on one of the teams, Wisconsin Rapids Rafters, awesome mascot. And he led off for the team, went to a Division II school. He went to Notre Dame, not that Notre Dame, but Notre Dame in Ohio. Ended up being a 5th-round draft pick by the Minnesota Twins back in 2022. Before we get to what he's doing now, he led off, and this guy, he was probably in his like high 70s, low 80s. He was a scout for the Texas Rangers. He was wearing a trucker hat with the Rangers logo right on the front, their traditional blue. He comes up to me and our boss, Justin, who Sam knows, who was running the marketing and press box efforts. He goes, hey, I'm here to see Ross. Do you know where I can sit? And at that stadium, as most do, they've got scout seating where it's like, hey, you go right here, you get the best angle. They're basically field side, owner's box, right behind home plate. So Mr. Ranger Scout goes downstairs. First pitch of the game to Ben Ross, over 400 feet off the bat, over the left center field part of the wall. Mr. Scout picks up his clipboard, picks up his phone, and leaves. He saw all he needed to.
Gosh. Wow.
Unreal stuff. First pitch of the game, I'll have to go back and find it. He did not go to the Rangers. He went to the Twins. But, that's someone in the Northwoods League in Cape Cod. It's mostly D1 guys, but you'll get D2, you'll get upper-level D3, NAIA, JUCO. Ben Ross is doing that again, where you just don't think he can get better, and then he drops your jaw even more. So, Ross gets drafted in 2022. Makes his way up to AA, and over the last couple of years, he's been stuck there hitting just above the Mendoza line. This season, Ben Ross, a former Division II college baseball player, has the following stat line. 5 homers, 14 RBI, and a .462 batting average across 14 games. We've seen the power on display in the past, and he's had as many as 19 homers in a season back in 2023. This is an otherworldly pace. He did something very similar in summer ball. We have not seen him perform like this since then, but this is an indicator of a guy who, when he gets hot, absolutely nobody or thing is stopping him. And I hope he gets the call to AAA St. Paul pretty soon.
I would imagine he does, but an 865 slugging percentage.
That's a good OPS.
Is, for the record, yeah, that is a good OPS. But for the record, that is a higher slugging percentage than any career OPS line he's had in affiliated baseball.
Yeah.
To this point. That's nuts.
Unreal.
That actually is so nuts. I'm just looking up the individual stat leaders for the St. Paul Saints. And based on current production, I would imagine that Ben Ross gets the call over Aaron Sabato pretty soon. Mm-hmm. Sabato's currently got a 575 OPS and 24 at-bats over at first base for St. Paul. Eric Wagaman is their other guy, and he's arguably doing worse. So I would imagine Ross, being 25 years of age, I would assume he's got the experience by now to get the AAA call. But again, like we talked about with Akron and Wisconsin and these other teams in minor league baseball, you got to take the stats this early in the season with a grain of salt. He's played 14 games. We got to see some more, right? This is a good trend, but I want to see not only how far the stats do come back down to earth, but I want to see how he reacts to that if I'm the Twins ownership before I call him up to AAA.
Yeah, and that's fair. And what do his bad days look like? We've only seen his good days in 2026, but when he goes 0 for 3, can he work along at bat? Can he get on base via a walk? If he gets hit by a pitch, does he go and try and steal a bag? Like, what other ways can Ben Ross impact the game? We know he can mash. We've known that for a while, but the batting average and other advanced analytics way beyond that indicate that he has trouble putting the ball in play consistently in the right spots. He's been a do-or-die type hitter. But yeah, really, really fun. This next guy, I just saw him, so I have a decent personal connection to seeing George Lombard Jr. in person. He's the Yankees' top prospect. I went to Somerset this last week. I'm with the Reading Fightin' Phils. They played them, the Patriots, and he's a strong dude. Like, you look at everyone, I know what George Lombard Jr. looks like, but if you just didn't even show me a headshot and said, hey, the top prospect in their pipeline plays here. By the time he took like his second grounder over at third, which he hadn't played to that point in a game, I knew who George Lombard Jr. was. He is otherworldly strong, extremely athletic, whippy arm. And then on offense, he hit a leadoff solo home run off of 3-time All-Star Zach Wheeler in his rehab start to begin the game yesterday. He was fired up running around the bases, and then Wheeler actually had his post-game availability after this rehab start. It was his second with the Fightin' Phils. said, I'd be good with not playing against that guy a whole lot. He's talking about someone in AA in George Lombard Jr., who is now hitting .365 with 3 homers and an OPS just south of 1,100 through the first 2.5 weeks of the AA season. So Lombard Jr., he checks off all the boxes. He was sharing the left end of the infield with Anthony Volpe. That could be a picture of the future once he's back up. But you've got a former Cy Young candidate saying, I'd rather not face you, and you haven't even kissed AAA yet. That's a pretty good sign to me.
I would agree with that. Lombard being the 27th overall prospect in baseball, man. I mean, the Yankees are still, correct me if I'm wrong here, but they're still looking for that next Jeter. Like, Volpe has not filled those shoes even remotely close yet. So they're still looking for their next franchise shortstop. The Yankees don't really feel like the Yankees without some kind of infield leader like that, and they just haven't quite found that yet. They had that with 2 years of Anthony, or 3 years of Anthony Rizzo. Yeah. Maybe, and they got, obviously, Aaron Judge out in the outfield, patrolling right field and center field at different points, but they don't have that middle of the infield wizard captain kind of guy, and they haven't had it since Jeter. And I think that silently, subconsciously, Yankees, both brass and fans, want that out of a shortstop. That's why Anthony Volpe was held to such a high standard coming up through the minor leagues, and he shot it pretty quick. Lombard is doing something similar here, where he's really starting to hit his stride early in the season. And again, going to keep reminding everyone, got to take it with a grain of salt. But hitting a bomb like that off of a former Cy Young finalist is impressive, to say the least. Right? I think the Yankees are still looking for that kind of guy, and Lombard might be the guy to fit that role. He might. He's got the potential to be what Jazz Chisholm is, but far better. Like, he's that archetype of guy, but he could be so much more than that.
Yeah, there was a different rumble in the crowd whenever he walked up to the plate. Like, we know something big's going to happen. He hit a double off Wheeler on Tuesday, struck out against him at 1.2, and then hit a solo shot to dead center off him. And everyone, it was already a packed house because the night before, Garrett Cole was there, Anthony Volpe had already been there, Zach Wheeler's there, and then you have a top 30 prospect in baseball. So, yeah, I mean, the lights get brighter, and he continues to get even better. And then last one before I hand risers off to you, Sam, Franklin Arias, I guess sticking in the same division, Red Sox number 2 prospect. Yep. He's putting up video game numbers for the Portland Sea Dogs, 10 games, .467 batting average, 3 homers, 9 runs driven in, an OPS near 1,400. I bring this up because, yes, take the numbers with a grain of salt. He will come down to earth with everyone else. Arias was picked for his glove. Like, rangy shortstop, supposed to have a really fluid arm, can make any throw. This is just supplementary. They were not expecting a kid that was going to hit .350 in low A before getting a pair of promotions last year. And now he's one of the best hitters in AA, again, over just 2.5 weeks. But everything he does on offense, they just need someone who can hold it down at shortstop. Everything he does on offense is supplementary to what they were looking for. It's bonus at this point.
And I remember covering Arias for the Red Sox Farm feature early in that series during the offseason, and we talked about that too. He was always seen as a glove-first guy, but the bat, I mean, it's been there for all of affiliated ball so far too, right? Coming out to Portland last year, he finished with a .685 OPS in just his 10 games there. He has doubled that and then some in his 10 games there this year. Question mark? But the bat's always been there. Like, career-wise, he's slashing .304, .383, .444, so an .827 OPS for a glove-first shortstop. Pretty solid. 292 hits, 63 of them doubles. He's got some speed to his game, too, lest we forget that. He's got a 40-run tool, but, I mean, it's a little underrated for a 40-run tool. He can leg things out. And I feel like that's something that should definitely be assessed or at least updated pretty soon, considering he had 35 stolen bases in 2024. He's got more speed than that 40-run tool suggests. Power still hasn't quite come around yet. He has yet to have a season with 10 home runs or more. But Franklin Arias is, again, another one of these potential franchise-esque shortstops. And he's just one of such a deep middle infield class in all of minor league baseball. I mean, you got to remember the top 7 prospects and 8 of the top 10 are all shortstops.
Unreal.
Ridiculous. If there weren't as many shortstops in this top 10 this year, I feel like Arias would probably at least crack the top 15, if not the top 10. Let's get into my risers really quick. Allow me to be a homer here again, but
please do.
Will the Jesus Madej stock ever fall? Or is it just going to keep going up and up and up and up? Because this looks to be one of the easiest, surefire investments that I could possibly make if I am Mark Atanasio. If I'm Mark Atanasio and I have money to do whatever I want with, it's throw $170 million at Jesus Madej. It is. It's set the new record, right? We keep seeing these new, pre-MLB contracts signed. Like Jackson Chourio set the record at one point. You got to remember, Evan White was the first guy to really sign one of these. He signed, what was it, like a 6 years, $24 million deal? And he hadn't even seen AAA yet. Granted, Evan White fizzled out really quickly, which is why people, it's like when 3 Mile Island happened with all the nuclear power plants, and that one just so happens to go wrong, and then everyone's scared of Magic Rock now.
I'm not doing it. Yep.
So, not doing it anymore, right? So, likewise, Evan White signs that deal. Everyone freaks out after he just doesn't pan out, right? He went to the Braves after the Mariners, still didn't pan out there. Everyone's freaking out, like, why make these moves anymore? So no one does them, and it obviously controls costs for the team. But then the Brewers signed Jackson Chourio, and everyone's like, okay, what are they cooking over there? Mm-hmm. And then the Mariners signed Colt Emerson, and then the Brewers signed Cooper Pratt, and then the Pirates signed Connor Griffin. I'm surprised Paul Skeens didn't get one of these kinds of deals. I mean, he looked like the most surefire investment in all of surefire investments in Major League Baseball history.
And it's too late now.
Jesus Madej.
It's too late now.
Yeah, exactly. It's way too late now. Jesus Madej looks to be that guy now. And the numbers are backing it up. 15 games at AA Biloxi so far. Slash line 333. Again, for those of you keeping score at home, for every 3 at-bats, he's getting a hit. That's Hall of Fame if you do that for your career in Major League Baseball. 432 on base, 587 slug, 1020 OPS. The slug is the highest it's ever been in his career. He's never been a power hitter, but he's getting a lot of extra bases because of his speed and because he's got such a clean swing to the ball, and he's really aggressive after contact, so he's really getting that swing through. 21 hits, 4 doubles, 3 triples to start the year. 2 homers, 11 walks to 10 strikeouts. He's walking more than he strikes out. He's had continuous improvement throughout Milwaukee's levels so far. The glove's been literally spotless to this point this year. His approach, like I said, very calm approach too. Very hard follow through, but it's also a really clean follow through. His mechanics are terrific. The last series against Columbus Clingstones this past week, he went 7 for 24. That's a 292 average. 3 doubles, 1 of his triples, 1 of his homers, 3 RBIs, and he walked 5 times to his 2 strikeouts. So I ask you this, Cory, because it's going to happen. And I don't know if it's going to happen tonight. I don't know if it's going to happen in August, but it's going to happen before he debuts. What is that contract? Because it will break Connor Griffin's contract.
It will.
What is it going to be?
I mean, you can also use Cooper Pratt as the reference point. He's making about 10 mil AAV. That's a ballpark estimate. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But I think 15 to 20, it's a large range. 17 million a year. And some people are thinking that's absolutely nuts for a guy who hasn't played on a Major League Baseball diamond yet. Watch him. He had a 2-triple game for Biloxi last week. There are guys who are rapid, who don't have 2 triples in a month, in a season. He did it twice in a game. And might we remind you, he hasn't turned 19 years old yet. But there is absolutely nothing about his game that says this is a youngster who needs more experience. Yeah, I think we're in the ballpark of 16, 17, pardon the pun, $1 million a year as the Brewers go in and basically solidify the left side of their infield. I guess I fire a question back at you in that if he continues to do this, do we see him in the major leagues this year?
I want to say I know what you're about to ask. Yep, that's exactly what I thought you were going to ask me. And I didn't want to pre-fire my answer, but that's exactly what I thought you were going to ask.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with you, I think the answer is yes. I think we do, because think about it this way, right? You sign the contract, or you get him to sign it if you're Mark Anasio. When's the last time we've had, outside of Connor Griffin, right? Let's assume Connor Griffin's not here right now. When's the last time we had a 19-year-old superstar potential in Major League Baseball? Juan Soto. Yeah. That's the only name that comes to mind. So not only did you offer him the contract, he signs it, that shows you know he's going to be a key investment, a key piece of this team, a key cog in the engine for a decade plus. You might as well show him off, see what the kid can do.
Yeah.
Because the lockout's coming. You sign him to the deal. He's going to get paid. What is the harm in having him sit? I want to see him at AAA first. Don't get me wrong. I want to see him there. I know Churio skipped it. I know Churio, he played like 20 games there and instantly got the call up, debuted in 2024 on opening day. But if Madej starts pouncing on AAA pitching, why wait?
Yeah.
What possibly could Joey Ortiz do that Jesus Madej can't, other than maybe slightly better defense? There's really nothing, right? Cooper Pratt, we said the same thing about Cooper Pratt a few weeks ago when he signed. Obviously, the bat hasn't quite come around yet. But likewise, Joey Ortiz's bat isn't good. What does Joey Ortiz hold in terms of skill set and or value to the team that these two young guns who are ready for an opportunity, yes, ready for an opportunity, what do they not have versus Joey Ortiz?
If you go outside the glove, there's not much of an answer there, right? And I think part of the reason Matt Arnold does this, not Anasio does this, locking down Pratt, that is their guy. Like, Joey Ortiz was essentially a rookie with the Brewers. He was not their guy. They got him from the Orioles, I want to say, right? So
yep, this is Corbin Burns' trade.
Yeah, so this is someone you have all the advanced analytics in the world on in Pratt. I know he's hitting in the low 200s in AAA. And then with Madej, that's why you say, look, screw the 6-year clock that ends up bleeding into arbitration starting in year 4. We trust ourselves and we trust you to build this development tree that we know Pratt and Madej in some order. I don't know what they're going to do with Pena now. He might be the odd man left out. He's tearing it up too. In what order do we move these guys in? It doesn't matter. We have to find a way to get them up in Major League Baseball. But Madej continues to impress. In spring training, he continued to drop jaws. Spring breakout, he showcased his skills. Now we're here in AA. He's essentially playing up, by the way, like 4 to 5 years. The average player in AA is not 18. They're not 19. They're not 20. And they're not 21. The guy is, he is the kid in 12U baseball who is playing varsity. And he's absolutely ripping it right now. That's the equivalent to what Jesus Madej is doing.
It's the freshman that showed up to high school tryouts that nobody knew and did not miss on the hit tracks.
Yeah.
And did not miss in the field and just, was showing up all the seniors on the team, right? That's what Madej is doing. Let's get to a older guy, though, getting back up in that 22, 23-year age range. This guy at AAA, you guys remember when I did the Twins farm feature? Corey, you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And I talked about Callan Culpepper possibly being, at least in my eyes, the best player in the system. He might remember that too. The glove is there. The glove is definitely there. 19 games at AAA St. Paul. The bat's there too. OPS is 7 points below 800. 275, 356, 438's the slash. 356 on base is nothing to scoff at either. That's pretty solid, especially for a guy who wasn't quite known for the bat, right? 22 hits, 4 doubles, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, 9 walks so far on the year. The strikeouts are a little high, but they've always been kind of high for Callan Culpepper. He hasn't, in my eyes, from a statistical perspective, he hasn't quite eclipsed Emmanuel Rodriguez yet. But they're pretty much 1A, 1B in terms of who's the best non-MLB player on that team. Because you remember, they have Alan Roden, they have Orlando Arcia. That's a pull of a name. They have both of those guys on the AAA roster right now, and they're both tearing up the cover of the baseball right now. So you take those two away. The two best hitters aren't named Walker Jenkins. It's Emmanuel Rodriguez, and it's Callan Culpepper. And third place right now is Gabriel Gonzalez, who's another top 5 for that team. are just outside going into the season. Excuse me. None of their best hitters right now are named Walker Jenkins. So the only reason Erod still has him statistically, though, is in OPS and slug. But the reason why his OPS and slug are just so much higher is because he has one extra home run on 6 less hits than Callan Culpepper.
Yeah.
So they're basically 1A, 1B. They're right there with each other. The Twins are hot right now for whatever reason. You know, we're in some kind of like bizarro world baseball season where the Minnesota Twins are currently a game and a half out of first place, and at one point were in first place and had the best record in the American League at one point. So, granted, look over the AL West, the A's are in first, right? So, the Twins are at some point going to fizzle out, and they're going to finish with probably 65 to 70 wins. But looking at their team, I could see Callan Culpepper getting the call, and I could see it happening pretty soon, too. I genuinely could see it happening pretty soon. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you jumped on the train early when you were doing your farm feature, right? I think Rodriguez, that's the sexy stats of 2026, where a lot of people prioritize slug and OPS and just overall power compared to batting average. Culpepper's more well-rounded. And the other thing with Rodriguez, all power to him, no disrespect, availability hasn't been there. The main thing is, can we get an entire season out of him? That's not really in Culpepper's profile. He plays wire to wire for the most part. I would say his floor is a lot higher. I'd feel safer about giving him the call over somebody like Rodriguez for a permanent stint in the major leagues. So those are my thoughts on him. I think he's there, and I think if the Twins do end up being that 65 to 70 win team that we expect, there's almost no loss to making a call like this. Let's see what we've got with the kid. If he passes the eye test, pull what the Brewers and Braves have been doing for years. Sign him. Sign him. Forget about the rest of this stuff. Lock down your guy. You've got some core pieces. You've got Mick Abel doing really well for that team. He had a 10 strikeout shutout performance the other day. You have Luke Keeschel, who just came up through your farm. Lock down your possible cornerstone of the future. Buxton's getting up there in age in Culpepper. So I think he gets it pretty soon. You take out those guys like great pull in Arcia. You take out those guys who do have the Major League Baseball experience, so AAA runs a little slower for them. And he's one of the best players in St. Paul right now. He's tearing it up, and it's pretty convenient for him too. Just go down the street and you're playing over at Target Field. So I think he gets it pretty soon, and I think because he's more well-rounded than Emmanuel and injuries aren't an issue, even if they're both healthy, I wouldn't be shocked to see him get the first true shot out of those two.
Yeah, and really quick before we cut to our break here, that pitching staff, man, talk about the Twins. They robbed the Rays on 2 separate occasions.
Yep.
Taj Bradley, Joe Ryan. That's probably the best 1-2 in baseball, if you ask me. Taj Bradley's already at 1.5 WAR this season. Hasn't allowed a homer yet. He's one of few pitchers in baseball that have yet to allow a home run. Only allowed 5 runs on 24 hits through 27 innings this year, 34 Ks, a FIP below 2. The whip's a little high because he has been walking guys, but an 11 Ks per 9. Joe Ryan's obviously Joe Ryan, but Taj Bradley, man, have a season. Have a start to the year. I think if you get Culpepper up because right now, current moment, he clears Ryan Kreidler.
Yep. I
think he clears Brooks Lee. Brooks Lee was who Callan Culpepper was a few years ago. That's who Brooks Lee was when he got called up. Luke Keeschel's having a slow start to the year. Cody Clemens has been mainly at first. He's having a slow start to the year. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? You did mention the A's a little bit ago. I'm going to keep pinning my name. They make the postseason this year. I think they do. I think they make the jump.
I like that take is like my Pirates take. I'm drinking the Pirates Kool-Aid. I'm full in nosedive into the Pirates Kool-Aid this year.
Well, the Central is nuts right now, too. At the time we're recording this, apparently 12-9 isn't good enough. Yeah, it's unreal.
The SEC of professional baseball.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's awesome. Prospect hotbed, too, for the most part. Yeah. All right,
Yep.
that is your risers. We want to give you a quick message about our friends over at JustBats.com, the Just Bats team. We're super excited about this partnership, guys, and you should be as well. If you are looking for that customizable touch on pretty much any of your equipment to this point, you're going to want to go to justbats.com. They can regrip for you. They can put the customizable knob sticker. They can even engrave your products to this point. They're a super impressive crew over there. I have loved working with them so far, and I don't want to give too many details yet, but in a couple of weeks, we will be doing a giveaway courtesy of Just Bats. It is not a cheap item, and one of you will be able to win it for free. We're going to have a couple steps because we want to make sure that you keep them top of mind and us, but you have a chance at getting a very expensive product from justbats.com. There's your hint, for free. We'll launch that at the start of May. It'll go for a couple of weeks, and then one of you will get a pretty nice beginning of summer present that you can use for your choosing. We're also going to step aside for a quick break. If you are missing us in a live capacity, you can always catch us on all of our podcast platforms. Here is a quick note on that.
Did you miss the live version of our Minor League Weekly podcast? No worries. We've got you covered at Minor League Minute on YouTube and Minor League Weekly on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Then you can go back to watch or listen to the whole episode for all of your prospect and affiliate ball needs. So what are you waiting for? Go follow, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications to get caught up with the latest. That's Minor League Weekly on all of those platforms.
All right, again, if you miss us in a live capacity, you can always catch us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or you can go back and re-roll the video on the Minor League Weekly YouTube channel. Quick reminder, too, you can always go in our live chat. If you have any questions, any suggestions, any topics, any pitches, pun intended, for what you want us to cover and go over, we are happy to accommodate that and start that conversation as well as we get in past the first couple of weeks of the minor league season. We've got Hoagie back on the screen. Other end of the intermission. What's the halftime adjustment with Hoagie? Things are going well so far?
So far so good. There was a hint of a rather unpleasant smell.
Okay.
Wafting into the recording studio. Went around the house, did the once over. Looks good for now. I did not check one room, but that'll be a surprise for later. He did rip up a foam golf ball.
Jeez.
It's just scattered. The remains are just scattered all over our main hallway right now.
Oh.
So that'll be fun to vacuum up in about 30 minutes. But other than that, he's just puppy does what puppy does. So he's gonna hang out here for a little bit, just so I can kind of keep tabs on him a little better. There he is. Look at that guy.
Within sight.
He's laying up in the pillows right now.
Yeah, he's giving up a couple earned runs, but we're gonna be okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, you can give up 3 earned runs in the first and still finish with a quality start, ladies.
Exactly. It's about how you finish, right?
Yes. However, there's some guys that are just not finishing the job right now.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being Carson Bench, man.
Yep.
What happened? Like we're all hyped up about this guy being a big name prospect. He was gonna be a big deal, and he hit a home run on opening day. And now you have negative .2 WAR. What's going on there? Oh, he wants to come back over.
He said, "Put me back on screen, Dad."
Yeah. Oh, I just hit my funny bone. That didn't feel good. You equate that to 162 games in the season, and he's got a negative 2 WAR.
Yeah.
That's not good for a top prospect in the game. This is exactly why you should not rush your prospects, because he didn't get much time at AAA, and you just gave him the ropes right here to begin the season. His slash line is 143, 229, 206. That's a 435 OPS for your starting outfielder.
Yep.
Yikes. That's not good. The glove is there, though, and the speed's still there. But you look at his baseball savant page, and there's just a whole lot of blue, and you don't want to see that on anyone's baseball savant page. The bat just stinks right now. And again, it's early. Take all these numbers with a grain of salt. It's not going to be here to stay, most likely. Look at Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker began his career really struggling. Now he's turned it around. He's been one of the best hitters in baseball to start the year. Carson Bench could easily turn things around, finish the season batting like 275 with 15 homers. Could easily do that. But it seems right now that he's just forgotten how to hold a baseball bat.
Yeah, he's toolsy, right? Like you mentioned, he has the intangibles of a good glove, great speed. He's shown good bat-to-ball skills, above average bat-to-ball skills in the minor leagues, albeit he didn't have a whole lot of time. I think we're just spoiled too, man, right? Like, we could go through 10 different names right now in this rookie class that don't look like rookies. Carson Bench looks like a rookie. Connor Griffin at the plate actually looks like a rookie right now, right? So there's a couple out there who I think the game is speeding up a little bit with them. Not a coincidence as well. I think Connor Griffin's going to be a remarkable 10 to 15 year Major League Baseball player. Connor Griffin didn't play a whole lot of AAA
probably
either.
More, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably,
yeah.
15, maybe pushing. Like,
that's true. He's only 19.
We haven't.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I was watching a Stark Raving Sports video this afternoon. Actually, where did the 40-year-old hitters go? Where did they all go? That's another thing that we got to watch for. Are any of these guys going to turn into these 20-year vets, or is that a thing of the past now? Like, obviously, I'm not talking like Julio Franco kind of thing or JB Moyer kind of thing, but where are your 40-year-old Carlos Beltrons coming off the bench in a playoff game, high leverage, and hit a tater?
True.
Where are those guys?
Yep, Pujols hung around for a long time. There's a few of those where you're like, look, I understand the glove's not there, the speed's not there. Miguel Cabrera was another one, but you can still slug, and we like slug. So, I think you bring up a great point. Like, 20 years is not out of the realm of possibility with Griffin, but with Benj, he just looks like a rookie right now. I don't think you pull the trigger and send him back down to AAA because he is a starter for you. The Mets are just struggling in general right now, man. Like, they're on a double-digit losing streak to this point. They had a questionable end of the game in the series finale against the Cubs. I don't know if you saw that, but runner on third, one down in the bottom of the 10th, and instead of walking Nico Horner, one of the highest WAR players, to set up a possible double play, they pitched to him and the game was over. But with Benj, I think the game's going to slow down for him, but you hit the nail on the head, Sam, in that if you don't play a whole lot of AAA games or you accelerate through the minors, these slumps and these not so optimal starts, they're going to hit you a little harder. Real quick on my faller, Jackson Wiggins was placed on the AAA Iowa injured list with some elbow inflammation. Not only does it suck for the number 52 prospect in baseball who's aiming to break into the majors to get this news, the Cubs don't have a whole lot of pitching right now. Matthew Boyd's about to come off the IL. Cade Horton's out for the year. And their closer, Mr. Venezuela, who won the WBC, Daniel Palencia, he just went to the injured list. And that's not to mention a bunch of their other minor league guys like Brandon Birdsell, who are sidelined for the year. So, hearing that your top pitching prospect is now sidelined with elbow inflammation of all injuries for a pitcher, just unfortunate timing and not a great sign for someone who throws 100 miles an hour from time to time. So, I threw Wiggins on here as well.
I was just about to say, nor is that the injury you want to have.
No.
Especially if you're throwing 100 plus. If Jacob Mizorowski went down with elbow inflammation tomorrow, I'd feel like my life is over.
Yeah.
Right? That's almost Tommy John's knocking on the door. Are you going to answer or are you going to let him break in? Right? So I would hope, at least, from a neutral standpoint, because obviously I'm a Brewers fan, you're a Cubs fan, we don't really like each other's teams, but from a neutral standpoint, I would hope that this is minor and that the Cubs, because they really could use some wins right now, they need as many arms as they can get. They need as many guys, and you don't want to put all these dudes on the 40-man because then you got to DFA them.
Right.
And you can't just go to free agency and keep signing guys because then you got to DFA them too.
Yeah.
What if these guys could be useful down the line? You just don't know it yet. Like, it's such a huge gamble to add a bunch of guys to the 40s. So the Cubs are in just a really rough standpoint of what do we do with our lack of arms right now? And we don't have any guys. And then the guys that we need to have, they keep getting hurt too. I forgot what I was going to ask. It was back to the bench topic.
Struggling.
I think it more so. I remember what I was going to say. So, Cory, you're David Stearns.
Yep.
What do you do with Benj then? Do you send him down and ruin his confidence? Or do you keep him there and ruin his confidence? This is the problem you run into and why you don't rush guys.
Yeah, I think you ride it out for now because the team in general is not playing well. It's one thing if this awful losing streak is because Benj keeps stepping up with runners in scoring position and missing the baseball. Everyone's struggling. So I think, unfortunately, you just keep him on the ship and hope that rising tide lifts this ship at some point because they need that. It's a long season. But no, I think he rides it out. But to your point, Sam, if this struggle continues and he's hitting a $190 in May, he doesn't feel good. And he's also not going to feel good if Stearns calls him up and says, hey, I think we go down to AAA and figure this thing out a little bit. We send you to Syracuse. because he doesn't have that, peace of mind that other guys who are locked in on super long-term contracts have. It's my clock is ticking right now. I'm not doing very well. Maybe I did pick this up a little too quick, but it wasn't up to me. So I think they ride it out certainly for a little longer. It's still a small sample size, but if we're sitting here in May and he's still below the Mendoza line, I'm talking mid to late May, I think maybe those conversations start to happen only if the Mets play competitive baseball. At this point, what does it matter if your starting outfielder's hitting 150 if you can't even put yourself in the playoff picture? So it's one of those weird things where I think the result of the team actually takes pressure off him, where it's just, all right, kid, we're all struggling. Well, we'll see what you can do, because who are they going to call up for him? Yeah.
Exactly. Like you said, they are all struggling. That team right now, I mean, there's legit talk about, are the Mets right at this very moment, are they the worst team in baseball?
Yeah.
And down the stretch, if this keeps going, what do you do about your management? What do you do about your front office, your ownership? What do you do? Like, you're so stuck because you're a large market franchise. You spend all this money, and then if none of it pans out, watch if the Brewers turn Brandon Sproat into what Brandon Sproat can be, and Jet Williams, either he at minimum is 2024 Joey Ortiz, at minimum 2024 Ortiz. Mets fans are going to want Steve Cohen's head.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen. You look at the rest of their top 30 here. AJ Ewing's at AA. He's having a really hot start to the year. 356 average, 962 OPS. But you're not going to call him straight from AA. They're talking projected 2027 for him. As for other projected 2026s, you have Nick Morabito, who's been okay. 3 homers, 7 RBI through 17 games. 61 ABs. He has a 776 OPS. But are you going to add him to the 40-man because Carson Bench is struggling? Like that, again, it's like the Cubs thing is, do you add all these guys to the 40-man and then waste an option year? A DFA, God forbid, right? There's so much more that goes into being in the front office of Major League Baseball than just trade this guy because he stinks right now, and this guy's really good, let's trade for him. There's so many moving parts that I wish, if you are one of the friends I sent this link to tonight and you don't really know baseball like many other people, or at least like the two of us know baseball, you gotta understand there's just so many moving parts. Here, I'll grab your toy, buddy. I know you dropped it off the bed, silly goose. There's just so many moving parts to Major League front offices and to Major League teams that there's all these questions are super valid questions. Let's get into our fourth segment here.
Yeah.
A walk-off balk. Cory, take us through that.
Yeah, how about that? So we're looking at a NCAA game that went 21 innings and technically took over 24 hours to complete, and it ended in an anticlimactic walk-off balk. St. Thomas and Northern Colorado, they play a 21-inning baseball game, and Northern Colorado operated as the home team, even though they were on the Tommy's site, in a contest that was suspended after 11 innings due to daylight. They pick it up and play essentially the second half of the game the next day. The score reads 7-7 when a St. Thomas pitcher was called for a balk with the bases loaded to end the marathon. Sam, I sent you the clip. Was this a balk? Because every time something like this happens, people look at it and go, oh, was this an umpire trying to show themselves off? Do you think it was a balk?
Yeah. Clearly. From being a PO, right, from being one of those, big boy junk ball pitchers for a long time, that's a balk.
Yeah.
That's such a balk. And really what's going on here is that the guy is in his, he's in the stretch, right? So he's peering in. And I don't know if there's a set, like, at least from his perspective, was he just double clutching on what the call was for, like what pitch he was going to throw? Did he want to shake and started moving back, and then he thought he could reset again? Yeah. So he double clutches, like he's sitting back here in the windup. This isn't the greatest camera angle, but he's sitting back here in the signs. I guess I'd call it the sign position, right? He's sitting there taking the sign, and then he like double clutches forward. I did it a little more exaggerated, but that's what he did. He like started going back and then went back forward again.
Mhm.
That's no. No, sir. Pitching has to be, even with starts and stops, your pitching motion has to be one motion.
Yeah.
You could do all the crazy little antics like the Dempster glove twirl or all the stuff that, Justin Verlander does where he brings his foot out, or Nestor
Or
Cortez
Cueto.
is the greatest example of this. Cueto too, Louis Tiant, where he'd fully turn around and then look up at the sky and then go back. And like you said, Cueto would do like a little shimmy. Nestor Cortez does whatever he wants on the mound, quite literally whatever he wants.
Improvisation.
So, yeah, exactly. You could do all that, but that's all still one crisp, clean motion.
Yep.
He started going back, and then going back forward is a new motion. That's a motion towards the plate, and you're not throwing the ball. You motion towards it, and you set yourself. You're supposed to throw the baseball. He did not.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, that is a balk. But if I'm an umpire, I'm finding it very hard-pressed to make that call to end a game. To end a game like that is just something that you don't do, or at least you don't think of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Is ending the game on a balk?
Yeah. And I think,
so my question is, you watch him do that where he starts going back and then resets himself without stepping off, which is a balk. And nothing was called by the home plate umpire until fans and players started saying things, and then the field umpire makes the call. I feel like if those gestures aren't made, that isn't called.
Right.
Because it was subtle. You have to be looking for it to see it. It was pretty subtle. But for a guy who's played baseball and was a PO for many, many years, I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm the umpire, that's such a high leverage situation. I don't know if I could call that.
Yeah, it's the equivalent to like you're letting two football teams play hard the entire game, and then the game comes down to pass interference. You give them the free yardage, and it's a free field goal inside the 20 when you were letting them fight the whole game. I'm curious if he was doing that beforehand and how much he was doing it. Like, did they call it just the pitch before, or was it in motion and they said, hey, I don't know if that's right, and then the field umpire goes, that's it? Like, you're right, that is a balk. Because the crew chief's the head honcho here. Like there's an order of operation, and if the fans kind of barked that one into existence, I say with a dog in frame, I don't know if that was the call to make, right? I appreciate it. But, you bring up the point, right? I think a lot of people struggle to understand, and the balk can be complicated when it's this subtle. The moment you stop, it's over. Like, if you start your motion towards the plate, that ball needs to come out of your hand. And
it has to.
Yeah. And you'll see these guys tap their feet like on their way back or do all the Cueto Cortez stuff. That's fine, but you're still moving in the same direction. And you don't have the intention of going to the plate. He basically shuffled that front foot and then changed his body, I guess the weight of his body from like the back foot to the front foot and back. And you can't do that. Should a 21 inning game end on that? I don't know, because I do think it was subtle. But I'm glad you cleared that up, though.
Yeah, like I said, I think that there's some semblance of the opposing players, and some of the fans kind of influenced that call a little bit. But, if I'm the home plate umpire, that, I don't know, I feel like you kind of have to call that, because it is literally textbook. That's a balk. Mm-hmm. Like, that's one of the purest examples of a balk. But I would just find it so hard to actually make that call. I would.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I wanted to bring it up because I saw a lot of people barking at it. Anytime you see a walk-off balk, you're going to have those saying it wasn't, or the umpire was just making it about themselves. But especially with you being a PO, having you on the episode, I'm glad you were able to break that down for those who might have been a little confused on it. We're going to go to the last segment here, fair or foul. Do you agree with this or do you not? I've seen this come up in a couple of different groups. You go on your Facebooks, your Twitters, your Instagrams when there's calls in basically AA or lower that individuals don't agree with. They don't have the luxury of the ABS system. It was tested in AAA. It still lives in AAA. Eventually was put into action in spring training and starting this year. Major League Baseball teams get to use it, right? It's not in the World Baseball Classic. It's still in a very small circle. But fair or foul, Sam, I'll let you lead us off here. ABS systems should be installed across all levels of minor league baseball. At least we'll go down to low A. We won't go to like complex or DSL or short season.
Well, yeah, there's multiple ways to think about this, really. The first one being, if one's got it, they should all have it.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like the NFL versus the UFL versus the CFL, where they're all separate entities and they kind of do their own thing and mooch off each other just a little bit. Textbook example here was with the NFL adjusting the kickoff rules because they saw how successful it was in the XFL, the third rendition of it, technically. They saw how successful it was and said, oh, okay, less injuries, more outcomes, let's do it, right? So they all kind of feed off each other. But these levels are all Major League Baseball. Mm-hmm. So if one's got it, and yeah, you use the minor leagues as your testing grounds, that I totally understand. Level, it should be everywhere. Yeah. And like you said, that might run into a finance problem. It might. But me being a baseball purist, I think it just should.
Oh, I think we lost Sam.
The common sports fan now who didn't understand how the strike zone worked, right? Now there's a measurable strike zone. But what I don't like is that it's the same strike zone across short guys and tall guys. So at least it's pretty close to that, right? You know, there's a certain length and width, and barely any, like proportional difference between height. But you live and you learn, right? Like eventually you're going to figure out these guys got, they're going to start calling balls and strikes that aren't balls and strikes. And eventually you're just, you're not going to see as many challenges, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I just don't like it. I think it needs to go. I don't even think it should be an option. It takes the human element entirely out of the game, really. It's like instant replay though, too. It really is just a different component of instant replay. So if I'm against that, I should be against instant replay. So it's a little bit of a, hypocritical statement that I'm making because I do like the instant replay component. But man, we talked about missing like 40-year-old, boppers coming off the bench. I want to see managers getting umpires' faces again.
Yeah.
That hasn't been around, I feel like, since Aaron Boone kind of did his thing where he's got savages in the box.
Yeah.
Or Terry Collins, where he wants to have their shot, right? So I feel like we haven't really quite seen that. And we see it,
yeah,
but we don't see it as much anymore. There's so many pros and cons, right? But as a purist, I just don't think it should be anywhere. But from the standpoint of where the game is today, if it's at the big league level, it should be throughout minor league ball too.
Yeah, that's fair. You and Johnny, one of our other minor league weekly and minor league minute teammates, you're in the same vein where it's like the instant replay system in that you're using technology to aid it, but it's not like the instant replay system in that a human doesn't make the decision after the review. It's like tennis. It either grazed the zone or it didn't. At least in the NFL or the NBA,
yeah,
you get the review, but then they congregate and decide, all right, the ball was off his fingertips before, or her fingertips before the buzzer. Or, nope, that absolutely was not a first down. They didn't cross the plane. And we're starting to get into that electrical aspect of it too. Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head I have it as foul in the atmosphere that we're in right now. AAA and Major League Baseball use it. For one, I think pitchers at the AAA and Major League Baseball level, their misses are a lot more fine. Therefore, you're going to have more reason to use it. If you're in low A or the complex, sometimes those misses deviate a little larger. And then you mentioned funding. That's like my bread and butter answer here. These ball clubs could use that money if they are being expected. Let's say we're putting ABS everywhere. If they're expecting these ball clubs to, I'll make up a figure, contribute to 25%, and then Major League Baseball pays for the rest of it, or there's taxpayer dollars involved, those dollars could go towards, I don't know, better bathrooms, a new speed pitch. Like, the whole purpose of minor league baseball outside of development, when you're garnering people to, come in and enjoy the game, it's to entertain and give the fans an enjoyable experience. So I'm like, if we're funding something, let's raise funds to improve the experience for the fans. There's going to be some diehards in high A and double A who want to see the ABS system, but I think, the conditions of their concessions or their bathrooms or their team store where they're getting merchandise, I think that impacts people more on a day-to-day basis if we're just talking like fiscally. And then I think for the development side of the game, you have guys either on the mound or at the plate who have an eye for the strike zone and learn to develop it. And if you're good enough to get to AAA, or you're that 0.001% out of people who try and play this extremely hard sport that make it to Major League Baseball, you get the once in a blue moon challenge opportunity as a reward. But some of these lower level minor league games, they get so ugly and there's a lot of, lack of command, or the stakes aren't as high as it might be in a Major League Baseball game, where I think the fun should be dedicated to improving the experience for the fans, and the game should be played the way it always has been. I don't think adding that review system impacts much. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, think about it this way too. You're talking about having a great eye at the plate and talking about rewarding the guys for having a great eye. We're seeing walks tick up in Major League Baseball this year.
Yep.
There have been, it's not an outlandish amount of more walks, but there are definitely more walks. And as a fan, I like that there's accuracy involved now. And it's more so precision ball and strike calling. But I don't want to see walks.
Pace of play, man.
Where's the element of, not only the human element of balls and strikes being, close, but where's the element of protecting the plate now?
Yeah.
You don't have to protect the plate anymore. It's a measurable outcome. If it clips the zone, it's a strike. And that's another thing I hate about it too. And I get it makes sense. If it's like putting a big piece of sheet metal out there, and if the ball tings off the sheet metal, it obviously hit the strike zone. But it just pains me every time they show the little simulation of where the ball went and if it did or did not clip the zone, and you see just the tiniest sliver clip the strike zone. That's not a strike, man.
That's fair.
9% of that isn't in the zone.
Yeah.
That 0.1% is really making that a strike? No. In my mind, no.
Yeah.
As a pitcher, oh yeah, for sure that's a strike. Yeah, of course that's a strike. But as a batter, I'm losing my mind.
Oh yeah.
That you have this zone, you might as well just expand. Am I wrong? Like, you might as well just make it big enough to where the ball, there's an extra ball length around the entirety of the zone. And then you have to make it fully inside the zone.
I was just going to say,
There's
where do
like
you draw the
gray
line then? All the way in or halfway in? Do the halfway rule? What would you do?
See, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a gray zone. But then again, if there's a gray area, then what's the point?
Right.
Right? So there's a whole lot of different ways that this conversation can go. I think ABS is, generally speaking, a good thing for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. I don't agree with it. I think it should go away. But it's making the sport a lot more watchable outside of the walk conundrum, right? But it's not perfect yet. There's still ways to perfect this system, and I think we'll see maybe some tweaks in the upcoming CBA. Because again, like it happens every year, the only thing that holds the CBA back from, or not every year, every 6 or so years, the only thing that holds the CBA back is how much the players get paid and how much the owners do or don't get paid.
Yeah.
Everything about the sport itself gets fixed like that.
Mm-hmm.
That language is already taken care of. No questions asked, no holds barred. It's just about the player payment that it comes down to. So I'm sure that we will see some ABS tweaks in the upcoming CBA because it's not perfect, but for the general sports fan and for the fan that's just starting to get into baseball and learn who guys like Jordani Valdespin were, because I'm definitely spreading propaganda about those random 2010s players. But for those kind of fans, they're liking what ABS has to offer, but it's not perfect yet, and there's room for improvement.
Yeah, well said. And I think we'll wrap it up there. Just fine-tuning a system that is doing its job, but when the CBA rolls around, along with the salary cap and salary floor conversations, wouldn't doubt it if we have a footnote or two that's also mentioning the newly implemented ABS system, which Sam and I both agree would be foul across all of minor league baseball considering the current landscape. Thank you so much, Sam. I know you're like playing dad halfway through this as Hoagie's getting a little antsy, but appreciate the time.
He is, but he had his fun. Say bye-bye. Say thank you, everyone.
Oh,
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, he's been a good boy. He's been real good lately. So we're hoping this streak of, successful potty training days did not come to an end midway through the episode. But we'll figure that out. That, like I said, that last room, that's the surprise, right? That's the surprise that keeps you coming back.
yeah.
So
We'll be sure to report back on that. If you joined us for episode 20, if you've been with us for all 20, or you just joined us for the first time today, thank you so much for doing so. Everybody have an amazing weekend. From Sam, from Hoagie, I am Cory. We will catch you next Monday. Every story starts somewhere, and in baseball, that somewhere is the minors. The breakout stars,
Early on in day 3 of the draft, the Pirates called.
the wild moments, and the prospects you need to know about.
A sub-3 ERA in both single and double A.
This is Minor League Weekly, your inside look at the future of the game.